Welcome back to the channel this week. And this week is really special because I have a great friend of mine, Bill Fortney, with me. And Bill and I are going to announce something in a couple minutes, but first I want to let you know a little bit about Bill. Bill is a former Fuji X photographer, or are you still a Fuji X photographer?
I still am.
Oh, great. So Bill is still a Fuji X photographer, and you've been with the systems, the X system since, 10 years ago, 11 years ago?
Yeah, when the X10 came out was the very first thing I bought, and then I've owned, unfortunately, everything they put out since.
Oh, that's great. Anyway, Bill is also a renowned photography workshop leader. You've been doing this for about 40 years. He's also a speaker and an instructor, and well known throughout the industry as someone that has a lot of knowledge to impart from all kinds of photography. You're also a former Nikon technical rep, right? How long did you do that?
I was.
How long did you do that for, Bill?
I was with Nikon for 11 years.
Wow, 11 years. So anyway, we've got, the two of us have a great announcement for you. And that is that I'm going to let Bill announce it. How about that?
Well, we did a tour a couple of years ago of the coast of Maine and did a lighthouse tour. And we had such a great time with the people that came with us. And I've come to just enjoy being with Kirk so much. And I've learned a great deal from him, too. And we enjoyed it so much, we got to talking and decided we'd like to do it again.
And we did this workshop in the spring of 2021. Does that sound 2022?
Just a couple of years ago.
Something like that, yeah. But we've decided that we would like to do another one, but we'd like to expand it just a little bit and do it in the fall. So we're going to do it in October of this year, of 2024, from October 23rd to the 27th. And we're going to be doing it all the way from Kittery all the way up to Camden. And since it's in the fall, we're going to be able to try and do some different types of photography. And we're going to try and not just, it's going to be a full coast tour. And we're going to try and do as much as we can, between Kittery and Camden, and not just lighthouses, but all sorts of other things as well. I think that Bill, that you and I both talked to some of the participants, and you can tell us a little bit about some of the reactions that you got from people.
Well, everybody had a great time, and I think one of the things everybody agreed on was within a short period of time, we went to some great subject matter. And often on a workshop, there'll be two or three major things you'll see. But every day there were a couple or three, and everybody had a great time. And the last day of it, we decided to do a little image review with our students. And several came to me and said, "Man, I wish you'd started that earlier because I got a lot out of that. I enjoyed hearing what both you and Kirk had to say about my work." And so when we discussed it this time, we said we're going to add a little bit of a workshop flavor to it, have a little classroom stuff, and certainly look at people's portfolios, review their work. And so I think it's going to make it an even more valuable experience than it was the last time we did it.
Yeah, I think adding a little bit of a workshop feel to it with some image review and more instruction while we're out there will add a lot to it. I know that the reactions that I got from the people that I talked to is that it they got way more images than they thought they were going to get. And I think this time is going to be a little bit different because it's in the fall. I think that we can find some good fall foliage opportunities as well.
Yeah, I had the same reaction from several of the students that talked to me from our first one, who just said they got home and went through their stuff and thought, "Man, I kept finding more winners that I shot." And you always want to hear that. That's when people come and want to do something with you, when it's all over, you want them to go home and say, "Wow, I got a lot of great shots and I learned some things." And we had great fellowship too. We really enjoyed the group and ate a lot of meals together. And That's why I want to do it again. It was very enjoyable for me.
I had a great time as well. And I think that, one of the keys to this is imparting some knowledge that you have had from your 40 years of workshop experience and teaching experience. And that is the four keys to photography. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, a number of years ago, I did some workshops with a guy named David Middleton, who's a wonderful photographer, and he would teach this one lesson over and over. And I finally saw it enough times that it really kind of started to sink in. And when I started to apply it to my photography, it was an absolute breakthrough in my own personal work. It's real simple, and then we'll go into this in depth later, but it's real simple. There's four things you have to have in a great image. Number one, a definable subject. You have to really know what the subject is. It has to be clear. Light that works for that subject, and then control of the elements within the frame, which is composition, but learning how to do dynamic, impactful composition. And the very last thing is, and this is something nobody ever thinks of, is you have to have the conditions that allow you to make the photograph. I mean, if you go down to shoot at the docks and there's a hurricane coming in, you can't shoot in those conditions. And we've all faced that,
For
wind when
sure.
we're trying to do little flowers, and, you know, um, socked in horizon when we hope to do a sunrise. But once you get those four things lined up, not that that's all there is to photography, but boy, if you have those four things nailed, you're going to make a real successful photograph. And so we want to help people walk through that and take them to great subject matter, and hopefully we'll have good light, and then let them experience how they can actually do that for themselves. The big advantage, um, Kirk, for people to come and study with us, and I know this is an ad, but truthfully, between us, we've got almost 80 years of photographic experience. And there's nothing that you can teach someone any better than what you've learned in 80 years of actually going out and shooting photographs, publishing them, publishing books, being published in newspapers and articles and magazine articles. And then also, we've both taught people for a long time, and we've been able to kind of flesh out the things that really do matter, and make it more concise and a complete lesson that's not hard to understand. And so I learned so much just working with you on that trip, and I think that's a joy of photography, is learning
Sure.
and getting to hang out with people that, not being boastful, but that know what they're doing is important.
Take a look at the links below, and we'll have full information forthcoming. Bill, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's not what you photograph, it's how you photograph it.
Amen. Always good to be with you, Kirk.
Great. Hey, have a great day.